Welcome back to West Texas View.
We've been talking with Scott Jones, who does the economic development directorship at the Odessa Chamber of Commerce, and you've given us such a good broad overview, but let's spend this last few minutes talking about what we've accomplished and what lies ahead for us.
Okay. Odessa is a lot more diverse in its industries than it was even 10 years ago. A lot has been done to bring in outside businesses that are complementary to oil field services. I mean, oil's here. It's going to be here for the next 40, 50 years, they say. That's not going away. We're on the second largest oil reserve in the world. So we're going to have oil field services. We're going to have drilling. We're going to have that kind of activity. So what else can we do? Well, you know, plastics manufacturing is one that we're looking at. We already have a couple of plastics manufacturers here. When oil is low, their feedstocks are inexpensive, and so they can make a profit very well like that. We're looking at other businesses that will play off of the skill sets that we have, metal fabrication and machining, things like that. I just went to a FabTech trade show in Chicago a couple of weeks ago to talk to companies about coming to Odessa because we have those skill sets available. Healthcare is another big one that we're looking at because more people, more healthcare you need.
And that's one of our resources is Texas Tech Health Science Center.
We have 3 different universities that train for healthcare here, and Texas Tech Health Sciences Center is one of them, and they are actually, I think I saw a survey, a student survey, that they were number 3 in the nation as far as students and their perception of how their education went at medical schools in the country. Being number 3 is really big. We also have UTPB here, and their training programs are second to none. They're the highest rated in the UT system. And Odessa College is one of the, I mean, they're a leading community college in the nation these days, and they have some very forward-thinking programs and making a lot of progress with their students. So we have a lot of opportunity here in those roles. You know, other things that we're on top of here, and we're doing well. You know, we're trying to get a rail park here. A lot of these manufacturing companies and logistics companies need rail service. We're right here on a Union Pacific line across Interstate 20, but we don't have many properties available with that rail service right now. So we're trying to extend our rail opportunities because transportation is key for these companies. And we're trying to, we're doing a feasibility study right now to look at a rail park for Odessa, which will increase our opportunities for bringing manufacturers and logistics companies.
And building rail spurs costs a lot of money.
It does. It's about a you know, it's several $100s a foot to build rail service.
And but that could be the deciding factor of whether a company is moving here.
It could, because we have a lot of requests for proposal even coming out of the state of Texas these days when companies come down and talk to their economic development department, and we see those RFPs, and you know, if we can't respond to them because we don't have, you know, the proper amenities, and some of those are rail service. If we don't have those properties, we can't even respond to the RFPs, so we don't even get in the game. So it's really important. You know, the transportation issues, we've got great airports, we've got great highway system, and we've got rail here. We need to expand that rail capability. We also have a lot of interest. We're becoming more of a global player. We have a lot of interest from Mexico right now in our oil and gas services, in the companies and the technology. They're opening up their oil fields. They're talking about creating trade routes up here. We're working on La Entrada al Pacifico as that primary trade route to come up from Presidio, from the border, and to increase trade with Mexico. Rail would be another plus there as well as truck traffic, bringing their goods and services into Odessa. So, you know, we're working on those things right now. We're working on, of course, diversifying the economy and trying to get
and energy. Wind energy.
Alternative energy is really big out here. We're looking at. I'm going to a trade show later in the year for alternative energy and looking at that. I think Amarillo has a manufacturer right now, And Abilene has a manufacturer, and we're looking at trying to get some of those manufacturing concerns in here, because the wind energy is all around us. Solar's out in Pecos. We've got a lot of those businesses that are local here, are close to us, and we would be a good hub for that, because we have the transportation system to get the products to the field where they need it. And a lot of that alternative energy right now is dependent upon government subsidies, and so a lot of people are waiting to see what happens this next election, see if the subsidies hold up and are kept going, so that there'll be natural gas is very cheap right now, and it's very cheap to produce products with it. So and electricity is one of those products. So to the extent that the subsidies stay in place, then I think alternative energy will be very good for the future. And someday we run out of fossil fuels, and I guess we run out of wind and sun.
Yeah, that's right. But one of the things that we look at, that you look at always, is what are our resources. And I remember one year we were doing a visioning of what kinds of companies we really wanted to go after. And the companies that use sand, we curse the sand here as it blows in our eyes, but the Corningware company came out and said, you have the purest sand, and that is the main ingredient in making Corningware dishes. And so
right. And it's because it used to be a sea. The reason we have oil here is because it used to be part of the Permian Sea. So yeah, we have a lot of those natural resources out here, and we're taking advantage of those. You see, we apparently don't have enough sand, because you see all the rail cars coming in with the frac sand from other places. But it's not quite the same quality or grade of sand density that they need. Yeah, but that's kind of an oxymoron. But we do have a lot of those natural resources.
This has been so interesting, Scott. Thank you so much for taking your time to share it, because it's often a misunderstood job that you have. But it's been such a pleasure to have Scott and all of his colleagues at the Odessa Chamber of Commerce for the last 3 weeks here talking about what is being done. And almost everything that we've talked about here you could replicate in some of our other cities in the Permian Basin. They just do it very well in Odessa, and we're so happy to have had Scott here. We'll see you next Sunday with another program. Join us then.
Thanks for joining us for News West 9's West Texas View with Johnny Lou Avery. This has been a public affairs presentation of KWAB-TV and KWES-TV.